Hey everybody, I'm Zach and I like movies, and I'm back again to keep on my retrospective of the Mission Impossible series. And this one's special, not only for me personally, because this was one of the first movies I ever bought that when I was like really getting serious about having all the movies, but this was the one that I think really, started hyping up and really focusing on in again, a hype sense about Tom Cruise does the biggest stunt possible, which really is now just the staple of the series. And honestly, Ghost Protocol as a whole, I think, is really the tone setter for what the series has become going forward. Not just in sense of like its media hype and sort of the goals for the series, but also like the general tone, the sense of humor, the attention of what kind of action movie and action spectacle that the series wants to be. And I really think a good chunk of that credit does have to go to this movie's director, Brad Bird. He's stepping in, and honest to God, Brad is a guy who is so good at directing movies. It is honestly a crime he has made so few of them. But what's interesting is that Brad Bird is he's primarily known for his work in animation. He's done such classic masterworks like The Iron Giant, The Incredibles, and Ratatouille, absolutely. And it's so fascinating that this movie was his first live action movie, and the fact it's not only looks this good. Like the fact that it not only looks this good, it flows so well. He makes it look like he's been doing this kind of movie for years. But honestly, he has been doing this kind of movie for years. Brad has been like really, Brad, especially way back in the day, like 15, 20 odd years ago, he was like really changing things up and doing things in animation that you usually do in like live action. The way he was like framed shots and would sort of keep one. It's sort of a Spielbergian way, the way he would like use one wide master to have different camera setups in one big shot. So I think that's sort of one reason why he was able to make the transition from animation to live action really seamlessly. I think he does it more better than others. It's kind of a shame that he's only does it a couple of times. Like the last thing he did was Incredibles 2, which has its peaks, but it's not Incredibles 1. And that was like, how long ago was that? That was like too long ago. Oh, what's some things they brought to this movie? Well, first of all, this movie really did a great job of again, sort of resettling where Ethan Hunt is and where the team generally is. For one thing, Benji's here. Simon Pegg is now a series regular, and Benji is out in the field as the guy in the chair. And they also included Jeremy Renner as William Brandt, who is an analyst, and he's kind of brought in by sheer happenstance and just poor circumstances of things that went down, and he's now sort of like the one guy on the team who is basically trying to play catch up with everybody else. Like, wait, you're doing this insane, impossible, possibly dangerous and infeasible task, and everyone else is like, yeah, man, come on, catch up. But here we have it's kind of a fun setup. It begins in a Moscow prison where Ethan Hunt has been for a couple of months, and you get a great prison break sequence where Benji unlocks his doors, and they do a great music cue with a needle drop with Ain't That a Kick in the Head, and they really savor the reveal of Ethan Hunt, where he's like very these scenes are very quiet at the and at first he's always shot from behind, just kind of giving him some more aura. And like as things are breaking down, he's like trying, like Ethan is like going off on taking a detour to the plan, and like just he's like giving directions and doing hand signals. And again, and also this movie like also helped further establish like a thing that the series is really great at, is these like excellent uses of just wordless visual storytelling. Like you could just following character action, you understand who they are, how they work. Like it's great clear and present setup and payoff. And another thing they also really do is at least for this movie especially, is the tech. Like this one probably takes the cake for like the best tech, at least most fun tech in the series. When they break out of they help Ethan out of the prison with like this what looks like a portable AC unit that like disintegrates the ground. It's very silly, but also they have like they have like these contact lenses with like microchips that do stuff. So Ethan Hunt is broken out of prison by Benji and Jane Carter, played by Paula Patton, who again, that's an actress I don't really see that often, and she's really good. And so they break him out because those two last mission went south when an assassin who's played by Leia Sadu killed one of their team members and stole a file that had a bunch of Russian nuclear codes that they had swiped off a guy. And so they broke Ethan out because the IMF want him and its team to get the actual codes, and they have to do that by breaking into the Kremlin. The Kremlin, and so they break into the Kremlin. They put on disguises, and Ethan and Benji they use this tech projector setup to like. The only thing I can describe it as is like make a hallway. So like it's a thing that like it's like some weird camera thing that like tracks an eye line behind like a screen, and it's able to like sort of force a perspective of like the hallway as they're like quietly pushing forward to get to the room. It's ridiculous. That's a thing that's very ridiculous. That's very like borderline like 70s James Bond silly tech to it, but it's really fun. it gives great to a really fun, a brief but really fun suspense sequence, but then the mission goes south, and then the Kremlin explodes. Oops. Yeah, the Kremlin explodes. Like there's just a big hole where the Kremlin used to be that isn't there anymore. And so Ethan and the team get blamed for that. He's starting getting chased by just Russians who want his head, and in result, he's told by a brief cameo appearance by the late great Tom Wilkinson that the president has initiated Ghost Protocol, meaning the IMF is completely disavowed. Everyone's in the black, and but Ethan, they're gonna go. They're gonna go and do a job anyway to get the guy who blew up the Kremlin and set them up. Some guy named Hendrix, and that guy he wants to just like kickstart nuclear war. And so we have our setup, and we're really off to the races of what the mission is. And from there, we go to Dubai, where we get the big centerpiece of the movie, the Burj Khalifa sequence. And this sequence is not just great because of like just the sheer scope and scale of what they're going for. This is great because this is another thing that the series is so great at and would capitalize on so much going forward, is that these are just so many moments where Ethan and his team are just constantly put on the back foot. Like like, yeah, Ethan Hunt is borderline superhuman in terms of like physical abilities and like all the things he can do, like from like breaking into things and just doing close-up magic even. But what's so great about like Ethan Hunt's real superpower is not just luck, it's his ability to improvise. Because what makes these movies so fun and so damn good at like making you invested into, you know, how the characters act and all that. It's watching them form a plan, but then things don't go according to that plan. And so how do they improvise around that? And that gives way to great character moments, great suspense sequences, great set pieces. Even a little earlier, where Ethan escapes from the Russian hospital, where he picked a lock, he picked a handcuff lock with a paperclip, but he's caught like standing on a window's edge, no shoes, no shirt, just completely just like, I don't know, it seemed like a good idea at the time. Also, he was like in his 50s and he still looks cut. But like I said, the Burj Khalifa sequence, this is kind of where it's at. This is, but again, like the only reason that Tom Cruise is outside on the world's tallest building was because the original plan hit a snag. They were forced to improvise. So Ethan has to climb the building on the outside to get into the server room so they can hack the elevators and stuff so they could do the plan. So Ethan, so they give him these techie sticky gloves where he can just crawl up Spider-Man style. And so this is the big moment. This is still really on the Mount Rushmore of best Tom Cruise stunts. Certainly one of his most impressive and honestly dangerous. And you still really feel that. That big wide shot of the IMAX camera as he steps out and it looms out of the window and you just see the city way down below. It's really vertigo inducing. It is palpable. And also, I really should have shouted out the cinematographer for this movie, Robert Elswit, one of the greatest DPs in the business. He has shot multiple Paul Thomas Anderson movies, chief among them like Punch Drunk Love and There Will Be Blood. Also shot one of the greatest movies ever made, Michael Clayton, among many, many others. He's one of the best. If he shot your movie, it looks good. And man, does this movie look great sometimes, especially here. Great, absolutely fantastic use of the IMAX cameras. It's still, even if you got a big TV like mine, it's still, the effect is still really great. Right, and Ethan's just climbing, bit by bit, climbing up the world's tallest building. Also, that shot, that photo of Tom just sitting on top casually, he looked at the world's tallest building and was like, yeah, I could do that. Just the mind of this man. And again, they keep sort of upping the stakes with Ethan's improv, with this Ethan having to improv, oh no, there's a sandstorm coming and it's looming past you, and then one of his sticky gloves dies halfway up, so again, it's just one thing going wrong after the other, and just everyone having to take advantage of the moment, just again, flying by the seat of their pants. A lot of it is luck, but also it's because they are also capable. These are very capable people. They're great. Sometimes you just go to the movies to see really competent people figure things out. And that's kind of a staple of the series. That's why we watch Tom Cruise, because he's not just the best at what he does. He's not just really good at what he does. He's the best at what he does. But also who's really good at what he does is Jeremy Renner, most famous for the Renner app. But he's kind of introduced here as potentially a sort of let's it definitely does get the feeling of like, hey, maybe this was like a studio note of like, hey, let's write in a replacement character just in case Tom like retires from this. But like, no. This is the Tom Cruise show. Let's not kid ourselves here. But it turns out Brent has some moves and oh yeah, he's just an analyst. Turns out he was a former field agent who was shadowing a husband and wife, and then they were targeted by a Serbian hit squad, and that husband and wife turned out to be Ethan and his wife Julia, like, which is like, which is interesting because because the movie was seeding like something happened with him and his wife, and it was always kind of curious, and especially given how the end of Mission Impossible 3 went, wasn't exactly sure how they would like rope Ethan back into the missions again, but yeah, and then a few days after that happened, Ethan was in custody for killing 6 Serbian nationals in cold blood. Which, man, where's that movie? I would say that I did have some knocks against this movie. Is that I do think it peaks a little early. Like the Burj Khalifa sequence is absolutely a standout, but it also is something of a hard act to follow. But to be fair, they do what they can. They do. It's admittedly maybe a less engaging back half, but there's still a great use of the great use of spy work. They get there's a great sequence where like Jeremy Renner is forced to like take this 30-foot drop and just like be caught on this rover with magnets. So he gets to do his own Mission Impossible hanging jump stunt, but it's a little more techy, and that stuff is really fun. And I would say, as far as like other knocks, it's that the villain is probably the weakest of the series. Like Mission Impossible, again, it's not like James Bond that like this isn't a series that has like Bond level villains or anything like that. But like the villain here, Kurt Hendricks, he's kind of sadly a non-presence. He's just kind of like he's sort of, it almost feels like he's like a human form of a MacGuffin, where he's just which kind of sucks because he's played by Mikhail Nyqvist, who is not just a great actor, he's really good at playing villains. He played the Heavy in the first John Wick movie, so we know, if you've seen that, and I'm sure you've seen that, you know that he's capable of like really delivering the sauce when he needs to. There's tons of great character moments. Again, tons of great humor, tons of great sequences. Ghost Protocol is kind of a low-key MVP of the series. This has so much of what I love, so much of what we've all come to love about the series. There's great use of Simon Pegg. There's a Ving Rhames cameo, so he's always here too. Even if he's just here to like, hey, have a chat over a beer. There was also a nice little character moment with Julia at the end. And yeah, they're separate, but he's always watching out. But because, well, Ethan's goal in life is to save the world through daring, impossible missions, and he's got a couple more in the tank. And I'm already getting the first. And speaking of, we're already getting the first word out from their final mission, of Dead Reckoning, and it's interesting. It's a little unexpected for what I hear, but I'm expected to love it. I've nothing but faith. I've got nothing but faith for McQuarrie and Cruise. And again, yeah, if you haven't seen Ghost Protocol in a while, you really need to give this another shot. It's a winner. This is really zippy. It's fun, and it's even if you don't care, even if you don't think it's like peak Mission Impossible, it's like, again, even like mid Mission Impossible is still better than like what most people are putting out these days and what most movies we got. And yeah, this is a real fun one. I really love this. I always love revisiting this. It kind of gets better every time I see it, but again, this is a winner. Again, that Burj Khalifa sequence, holy crap, it's so good. It's great. This is just a good movie. And yeah, that's kind of it. Kind of a quick one. Not a whole lot to it, but also like just so much to like too. And I gotta say, I think that'll be it. I'm Zach. I like movies. I got more movies to watch, and from here on, we'll be in the McQuarrie and Cruise era with Mission Impossible, with some of the biggest highs, and those highs are high. So very looking forward to that. And I think that'll be it. I am Zach. I like movies. And I hope you watch movies because movies are life, and life is good. And I will see you next time, and you take care of yourselves.